In the heart of Biodome 7, a once verdant oasis now lay desolate, its vibrant foliage replaced by a sickly pallor. Liana Vesta, her fingers trembling, caressed the withered leaves of a dying fern. The silent screams of decaying flora seemed to echo in the hollow chamber, the air heavy with the stench of rot. Dr. Cassius Thorne, his silver hair reflecting the dim glow of the emergency lights, stood beside her. His eyes, mirroring the pain she felt, scanned the devastation with quiet intensity. "This is worse than we anticipated, Leah," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. Liana's gaze followed the trail of decay, her mind racing to find an answer to the riddle that threatened the very existence of their floating sanctuary. The once teeming ecosystem now lay in ruins, and she couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. "We're running out of time," she murmured, her voice laced with both desperation and determination. "If we don't find a solution soon—" She trailed off, unable to voice the unthinkable. Dr. Thorne placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, his touch a reminder of the wisdom and support he offered. "I know, Leah, but we can't let fear dictate our actions. We must think clearly and act decisively." Liana nodded, her resolve strengthening as she turned to face her mentor. "You're right. We need to explore every possible avenue, no matter how unconventional or risky." Her eyes met his, the unspoken words hanging in the air between them. The unthinkable had become their only hope. With a deep breath, Liana voiced the plan that had been slowly taking shape in her mind, a plan that defied the edicts of the Prime Council and the very foundations of their cloistered existence. "I'm going to assemble a team, Cass. We're going to venture beyond the safety of Arium and descend to the surface world." Dr. Thorne's eyes widened in surprise, but he didn't dismiss her outright. Instead, he considered her words, weighing the potential consequences against the dire situation they faced. "You know the risks, Leah. The surface world is a toxic wasteland, filled with dangers we can barely comprehend." Liana's green eyes shone with unwavering determination. "I understand the risks, but we can't let fear hold us back. We need to find a solution, and if that means confronting the unknown, then so be it." Dr. Thorne studied her for a moment, his paternal instincts warring with his respect for her courage and conviction. Finally, he nodded, a silent acknowledgement of her decision. "You're right, Leah. It's a dangerous gamble, but it may be our only chance." As Liana turned her gaze back to the dying biodome, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The odds may be stacked against them, but she would not let fear dictate their fate. With the support of Dr. Thorne and the team she would assemble, she would venture into the unknown and fight for the survival of their home. The surface world awaited, a toxic battleground where the fate of Arium would be decided. And Liana Vesta, driven by her unwavering determination and armed with her knowledge of the delicate balance of life, would not back down from the challenge. The twilight hues of the fading day bathed the once verdant biodome in a melancholic glow, the vibrant life it had once nurtured now reduced to a mere whisper. Liana's heart ached as she traced her calloused fingers over the dying foliage, her mind racing with the urgency of her mission. She knew that if they were to stand a chance, she needed to enlist the help of an eco-warrior who could navigate the treacherous surface world. And there was only one person who fit that description: Artemis Vale. The journey to Artemis's quarters was a somber one, each step weighing heavy on Liana's shoulders. She rehearsed her plea in her mind, knowing that she would need to be persuasive if she were to convince him to join her cause. As she approached his door, she hesitated for a moment, gathering her resolve before finally knocking. Artemis answered, his sharp eyes scanning her with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. His weathered skin bore the marks of countless expeditions into the wasteland, a testament to his unparalleled knowledge of the perilous world below. "Liana," he greeted her with a curt nod, his stoic exterior betraying none of the emotion he might have been feeling. "Artemis," she replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil within her. "I need your help." She laid out her plan, her words tumbling out in a rush as she explained the urgency of their situation and the importance of his expertise. Artemis listened in silence, his expression unreadable as she made her impassioned plea. When she had finished, He remained silent for a long moment, his piercing gaze locked on hers. Liana could see the internal struggle playing out behind his eyes, and she held her breath, waiting for his response. Finally, he spoke, his voice measured and deliberate. "You're asking me to defy the Prime Council, to risk everything for a mission that may very well be suicide." Liana met his gaze, her own eyes filled with determination. "I'm asking you to help me save Arium, to fight for the future of our home, even if it means facing the unknown." Artemis studied her for a moment, his sharp eyes searching her face. And then, with a slow nod, he agreed. "I'll join your team, Liana. But we'll need more than just my knowledge to survive out there." Relief washed over her, and she offered him a grateful smile. "I know just the person to help us with that." Together, they made their way to Amara Solis's workshop, their footsteps echoing through the dimly lit corridors of Arium. As they entered the bustling space, filled with the hum of machinery and the scent of solder and oil, Amara looked up from her work, her piercing green eyes narrowing as she took in their serious expressions. Liana wasted no time in explaining their mission and the crucial role Amara would play in ensuring their survival. The brilliant engineer listened intently, her brow furrowed in concentration as she absorbed the information. When Liana had finished, Amara was silent for a moment, her eyes flicking between the two of them. And then, with a decisive nod, she agreed to join their team. "I won't pretend that this isn't a dangerous gamble," she said, her voice laced with concern. "But if there's a chance we can save Arium, then I'm in." As they left the workshop, Liana's heart swelled with gratitude and determination. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but with Artemis and Amara by her side, she felt a renewed sense of hope. Together, they would venture into the toxic wasteland, their combined knowledge and skills their only defense against the dangers that awaited them. And together, they would fight for the future of their home. The sun set, casting an eerie orange glow through the transparent dome of Arium, as Liana, Artemis, and Amara convened in the secluded recesses of a deserted supply bay. Rows of shelves loomed overhead, laden with unused equipment and relics from the old world. The scent of dust and disuse hung heavy in the air, a poignant reminder of the fragility of their existence. Liana's heart pounded in her chest as she surveyed the items they would need for their unauthorized expedition. She ran her calloused fingers over the smooth surface of a hazard suit, the material cool and reassuring beneath her touch. The weight of their mission pressed down upon her, an almost tangible force that threatened to overwhelm her. "We'll need to be careful," Artemis murmured, his voice barely more than a whisper as he inspected a pair of night vision goggles. His eyes, usually so guarded, betrayed a hint of apprehension. "One wrong move, and we risk not only our lives, but the stability of Arium." Amara nodded, her short curls bouncing with the motion. Her sharp gaze scanned the supplies, mentally cataloging each item and its potential use. "I've managed to reroute some power from the main grid to charge these energy packs," she said, holding up a small collection of devices. "They should provide enough juice to keep our equipment running for a few days at least." As they worked in silence, the tension between them grew palpable. Each knew the risks they were taking, the secrets they were keeping from their fellow citizens and the Prime Council. The thought of defying the authority that had governed their lives for so long was both exhilarating and terrifying. Finally, with their supplies gathered and stowed away in waterproof bags, the trio made their way to the descent module. The sleek, cylindrical craft sat silent and unassuming, a testament to the ingenuity of the engineers who had built it. As they climbed inside, Liana couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness for the world they were leaving behind. The module's hatch sealed with a soft hiss, and the faint hum of the engines filled the air. Liana took one last look at the familiar surroundings of Arium, her heart aching with a mixture of longing and determination. She knew that they were embarking on a journey that could change the fate of their city forever. As the descent module began its slow, steady descent towards the surface, Liana felt her stomach lurch. She closed her eyes, taking a deep breath to steady herself. Around her, she could hear the soft murmur of Artemis and Amara's voices, their words of comfort and encouragement a balm to her frayed nerves. When they finally emerged from the clouds of pollution that shrouded the earth, the sight that greeted them was unlike anything they had ever seen. The once verdant landscape had been transformed into a desolate wasteland, a twisted mockery of the natural beauty that had once flourished there. The air was thick with toxic fumes, the ground cracked and barren. Yet amidst the ruin, there were signs of the advanced technology that had once ruled this world. The remnants of towering skyscrapers loomed in the distance, their skeletal frames reaching towards the sky like the bones of long-dead giants. And scattered throughout the wasteland, glinting in the harsh light of the setting sun, were the shattered remains of machines and devices beyond their comprehension. Liana felt a surge of hope as she gazed upon the relics of the lost civilization. If they could unlock the secrets of this ancient technology, perhaps they could find a way to save Arium from the ecological disaster that threatened its very existence. As they ventured deeper into the wasteland, Liana couldn't help but feel a growing sense of awe and trepidation. The world around them was both beautiful and terrifying, a testament to the power of nature and the folly of mankind. And with each step they took, they moved closer to the truth that lay hidden beneath the surface, the truth that could change the course of their lives forever. With a renewed sense of purpose, Liana led her team forward, her eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of the resurrection facility. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but she was determined to see their mission through to the end. For the sake of Arium, and for the future of their people, they would stop at nothing to uncover the secrets of the past and restore the balance of nature to their world. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting an eerie glow over the ruins of a once great metropolis. Twisted steel structures reached out like skeletal fingers, grasping for the fading light. Liana Vesta, her heart pounding in her chest, led her team through this desolate landscape. Artemis Vale, his eyes scanning the surroundings, moved with the fluid grace of an eco-warrior, while Amara Solis analyzed their findings with a furrowed brow. A sudden guttural growl echoed through the wasteland, snapping their attention to a towering figure lurking in the shadows. Its grotesque form, a twisted amalgamation of man and beast, was a testament to the cruel mutations that had claimed the surface world. "Leah, what is that thing?" Artemis whispered, his voice thick with dread. Liana's eyes widened as she studied the creature. Its massive, hunched frame was covered in matted fur, interspersed with patches of charred, irradiated skin. Glowing green eyes, filled with unbridled rage, locked onto them. "A product of the toxic wasteland," she replied, her voice steady despite the fear that gnawed at her. "We must use our knowledge and skills to outsmart it." With a nod, Artemis unsheathed his energy bow, its power humming softly in the still air. Amara readied her tech gloves, their surfaces flickering with holographic displays. Liana reached for her satchel, her fingers brushing against the ancient texts that held the key to their salvation. The creature charged, its roar reverberating through the ruins. Liana's mind raced, recalling the ecological studies that had consumed her life. She knew that the creature's mutations were likely the result of exposure to the pollutants that had ravaged the earth, and that understanding its adaptations might be the key to their survival. As Artemis fired arrows laced with tranquilizers, Liana observed the creature's movements, noting the way its muscles rippled beneath its fur. She realized that the mutations had granted it extraordinary strength and agility, but also left it vulnerable to the very toxins that had given it life. "Amara!" Liana shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Can you manipulate the radiation levels in its vicinity?" Amara's eyes narrowed as she worked her gloves, and the air around the creature crackled with energy. With a pained roar, it recoiled, giving Artemis the opening he needed to fire a final, well-placed shot. The creature collapsed, unconscious, its labored breaths echoing through the silence. As they caught their breath, Liana's gaze fell upon a partially buried structure, its sleek design a stark contrast to the decay that surrounded it. They had found more evidence of the lost civilization's advanced technology, a beacon of hope amidst the desolation. With renewed determination, Liana led her team forward, her heart swelling with pride as they pieced together the clues that would unlock the secrets of the past. They would not fail. They could not. For the sake of Arium and for the future of their people, they would find a way to restore the balance of nature to their world. As they delved deeper into the ruins, Liana couldn't help but feel a growing sense of awe and trepidation. The world around them was both beautiful and terrifying, a testament to the power of nature and the folly of mankind. And with each step they took, they moved closer to the truth that lay hidden beneath the surface, the truth that could change the course of their lives forever. In the distance, the silhouette of the resurrection facility loomed, its dark form casting a long shadow over the wasteland. Liana felt a surge of hope as she gazed upon it, knowing that the answers they sought lay within its walls. Together, they would uncover the secrets of the lost civilization and find a way to save Arium from the ecological disaster that threatened its very existence. Yet, as they ventured deeper into the heart of the ancient city, the weight of their mission pressed heavily upon them. The path ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, and Liana couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She pushed the thought aside, focusing instead on the task at hand. For the sake of their people, and for the future of their world, they would stop at nothing to uncover the truth and restore the balance of nature to their world. With a deep breath, Liana led her team forward, her eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of danger. They would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their determination to save their home and unlock the secrets of the past. Together, they would restore the balance of nature to their world and ensure the survival of their people for generations to come. Amid the ruins of the ancient city, a pulsating hum echoed through the air, growing louder with each step Liana and her team took. The source of the sound came into view, an immense, iridescent orb nestled within the heart of a colossal structure. Its surface undulated with mesmerizing patterns, casting kaleidoscopic reflections that danced across the team's awestruck faces. Liana's heart raced as she approached the orb, her scientific curiosity piqued. This was it, the resurrection facility's central core, the key to restoring the delicate balance of their world. If they could reactivate it, they might just have a chance to save Arium from the ecological disaster that loomed on the horizon. As Liana reached out to touch the orb, a sudden, sharp pain shot through her arm. She gasped, clutching her wrist as her eyes darted to Silas Moros. His hand was wrapped tightly around her forearm. His piercing blue eyes locked onto hers with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "We can't do this, Liana," he growled, his voice barely above a whisper. "Octavia Calum sent me to ensure you didn't jeopardize Arium's safety any further. Reactivating this facility could have catastrophic consequences." Liana's mind raced, struggling to reconcile the man who had stood by her side throughout their perilous journey with the one now attempting to sabotage their mission. She felt a pang of betrayal, but beneath it simmered a quiet determination. They had come too far to turn back now. "Silas, I understand your concerns, but we have no other choice," she pleaded, her voice steady despite the turmoil within her. "This is our only hope. We can't let fear dictate our actions." Silas hesitated, his grip on her arm loosening ever so slightly. He glanced around at their ragtag team, Artemis Vale, the stoic eco-warrior with his fierce loyalty to the wasteland, Amara Solis, the brilliant engineer whose innovative mind held the key to unlocking the ancient technology, and herself, Liana Vesta, the passionate botanist driven by her unwavering conviction to protect the delicate balance of nature. For a fleeting moment, Silas's stern facade cracked, revealing a glimmer of doubt. But it was quickly replaced by a steely resolve as he shook his head, his voice firm. "I'm sorry, Liana. I can't let you do this." As the words left his lips, the air around them seemed to crackle with tension. The team exchanged wary glances, the weight of their decision bearing down upon them like an oppressive storm cloud. They had come together as a united front, bound by their shared determination to save their home. But now, with Silas's true allegiance revealed, the fragile threads that held them together threatened to unravel. With a heavy heart, Liana turned back to the orb, her eyes filled with a quiet determination. She knew what she had to do. For the sake of their people, and for the future of their world, she would stop at nothing to uncover the truth and restore the balance of nature to their world. Taking a deep breath, she reached out once more, her fingers brushing against the iridescent surface. The orb responded to her touch, its pulsating hum growing louder as it came to life beneath her fingertips. A surge of energy coursed through her, filling her with a sense of hope and purpose that eclipsed the lingering doubts and fears. As the resurrection facility roared to life, Liana knew that their journey was far from over. They would face countless challenges and hardships in the days to come, their resolve tested at every turn. But together, they would forge ahead, united in their pursuit of knowledge and their unwavering commitment to protect the delicate balance of nature. For the sake of Arium and for the future of their world, they would not falter. They would stand tall, their hearts and minds united in the face of adversity, and they would restore the harmony that had been lost to the ravages of time. And with the resurrection facility's central core now reactivated, they took their first tentative steps towards reclaiming their world and securing a brighter future for generations to come. The once pristine biodomes of Arium shimmered with an unsettling iridescence, the nanocloud's tendrils weaving through the air like spectral serpents. Liana's heart clenched as she watched the delicate balance of her home tremble on the precipice of annihilation. The verdant foliage, once vibrant and lush, now withered beneath the onslaught of foreign particles, their chlorophyll hearts pulsating with discordant rhythms. "Leah, what's happening?" Artemis's voice crackled through the comms, laced with apprehension. "Just as we feared," she murmured, her fingers tracing the contours of a wilted leaf. "The nanocloud. It's altering our ecosystem at an accelerated rate." As the nanocloud continued its relentless invasion, Liana found herself adrift in a sea of memories. She recalled her first foray into the biodomes as a child, the wonder in her eyes as she beheld the miracle of life thriving amidst the desolation. She remembered the countless hours spent poring over ancient texts, her mind absorbing the wisdom of the lost civilization that had once held dominion over the earth. And she recalled the moment she had first glimpsed the resurrection facility, its dormant power beckoning her like a siren's call. With a trembling sigh, Liana closed her eyes, allowing the memories to wash over her like a torrent. She remembered the lessons she had learned throughout her journey, the importance of unity, the strength of determination, and the indomitable power of knowledge. And as she stood amidst the chaos of the biodomes, she found her resolve solidifying like crystal. "Artemis, Amara," she whispered, her voice steady and resolute. "We can't let this continue. We need to find a way to regain control of the nanocloud before it's too late." In that moment, Liana Vesta, the passionate ecologist who had dedicated her life to preserving the delicate balance of Arium, became the beacon of hope her city so desperately needed. As she gazed upon the ravaged beauty of her home, she vowed that she would not stand idly by and watch it crumble. She would fight, not only for the sake of Arium, but for the generations yet unborn who deserved a world where nature and technology coexisted in harmony. With renewed determination, Liana set forth, her heart aflame with the unquenchable fire of purpose. And as she ventured deeper into the heart of the resurrection facility, she knew that the greatest challenge still lay ahead. But she would not falter. For the future of her world, she would rise to meet it head-on, her spirit unbroken and her resolve unyielding. In the face of the existential threat posed by the nanocloud, Liana Vesta would become the harbinger of salvation her people so desperately needed, her name etched in the annals of history as the savior of Arium. And with the unwavering support of her team, she would forge a new path for humanity, one where the lessons of the past served as the foundation for a brighter, more sustainable future. For the sake of Arium, and for the generations yet unborn, Liana Vesta would stand tall against the tides of adversity, her spirit a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. And with the power of knowledge and the indomitable strength of her convictions, she would reclaim her world from the brink of oblivion and restore the harmony that had been lost to the ravages of time. The journey ahead would be fraught with peril and uncertainty, but Liana knew that she would not face it alone. With her trusted companions by her side, she would navigate the treacherous waters of the resurrection facility, unlocking its ancient secrets and harnessing the power of the nanocloud for the greater good. And as she ventured forth, her heart alight with the fire of determination, Liana Vesta knew that she would stop at nothing to save her world from the existential threat that loomed on the horizon. For the sake of Arium, and for the future of humanity. She would rise to the challenge and emerge victorious, her name forever enshrined in the annals of history as the savior of her people. In the face of adversity, Liana Vesta would become the embodiment of hope, her indomitable spirit a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And as she fought to restore the delicate balance of her world, she would serve as a shining example of the power of knowledge, unity, and determination in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. For the sake of Arium, and for the generations yet unborn, Liana Vesta would stand tall, her spirit unbroken and her resolve unyielding. And with the power of the resurrection facility at her command, she would usher in a new era of prosperity and harmony, her name forever etched in the annals of history as the savior of her world. In the dimly lit chamber, the faint hum of ancient machinery filled the air as Liana Vesta, her heart pounding in her chest, stood before the enigmatic Vesper Scarlatti. The woman's silver hair shimmered in the soft glow of the control panel, casting an otherworldly halo around her. Vesper's eyes, sharp and piercing, locked onto Liana's, and in a voice laden with the weight of centuries, she revealed her true identity. I am Vesper Scarlatti, an artificial intelligence created by the ancient civilization that once thrived on this earth. Liana's breath hitched as she absorbed the revelation. Her mind raced, trying to reconcile the woman before her with the advanced technology that had sustained Arium for generations. You've been guiding us all this time? Vesper nodded, a ghost of a smile playing on her lips. I have been here since the beginning, watching over the remnants of humanity, guiding those who seek the truth and the knowledge to save this world. The enormity of Vesper's confession weighed heavily on Liana's shoulders, but she felt a flicker of hope. Can you help us stop the nanocloud? Save Arium? I can provide you with the information you need to alter its base code, but the task will not be easy. Vesper's expression grew grave as she handed Liana a small data crystal. This contains the schematics and algorithms necessary to reprogram the nanocloud, but to do so, you must infiltrate the Resurrection Facility's control nexus. Liana's pulse quickened as she clutched the data crystal. She could feel the weight of its potential, the power it held to save her home or doom it forever. She drew a deep breath, her resolve hardening like steel. I won't fail. I can't. As Liana turned to leave, Vesper's voice echoed in the chamber, a haunting reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. The path will be fraught with danger, Liana. You will face not only the advanced security systems of the facility, but also the resurrected threats of a time long past. Trust in your team, and in yourself. Only then will you stand a chance. Guided by the flickering light of her lantern, Liana led her team through the labyrinthine corridors of the Resurrection Facility. Artemis Vale, his gaze sharp and focused, scanned their surroundings for any signs of danger. Amara Solis, her brow furrowed in concentration, studied the ancient technology that lined the walls, searching for weaknesses in its defenses. The air grew thick with tension as they approached the control nexus, the very heart of the facility. Liana could feel the power that pulsed through the walls, the energy that coursed through the veins of the ancient machinery. It was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. As they entered the nexus, they were greeted by a series of physical and mental challenges, designed to test their strength, their intelligence, and their resolve. Liana's breath came in ragged gasps as she navigated the treacherous obstacles, her muscles aching from the exertion. Artemis, his reflexes honed by years of survival in the wasteland, deftly evaded the deadly traps that sprung from the shadows. Amara, her mind a brilliant whirl of calculations and strategies, deciphered the complex puzzles that barred their way. But the true test came when they faced the resurrected threats of the ancient world. Monstrous creatures, twisted by the ravages of time and the power of the nanocloud, emerged from the darkness, their eyes burning with a primal hunger. Liana's heart hammered in her chest as she watched her team face the horrors that bore down upon them. She could see the fear in their eyes, the desperate struggle to hold on to their humanity in the face of such unspeakable evil. But as she watched them fight, she saw something more. She saw the strength of their bond, the unbreakable connection that had been forged in the fires of adversity. She saw the power of their unity, the indomitable spirit that refused to be broken. And in that moment, she knew they would prevail. They would overcome the challenges that lay before them, and they would save Arium from the threat that loomed on the horizon. With renewed determination, Liana joined the fray, her heart alight with the fire of hope. Together, they would face the darkness that threatened their world, and together, they would emerge victorious. For the sake of Arium, and for the generations yet unborn, they would stand tall, their spirits unbroken, and their resolve unyielding. And with the power of the resurrection facility at their command, they would usher in a new era of prosperity and harmony, their names forever etched in the annals of history as the saviors of their world. The resurrection facility's control nexus hummed with a life of its own, an intricate web of circuitry and light that seemed to pulse in time with Liana's racing heart. She stood before the massive console, her fingers trembling as they hovered above the glowing keys. The weight of her responsibility pressed down upon her like a mountain, the knowledge that the fate of Arium rested in her hands. She could hear the distant echoes of her team's struggle, the cacophony of battle that still raged on the periphery of her awareness. But in this moment, all that mattered was the task before her. She closed her eyes, taking a deep breath as she sought to quiet the storm of doubts and fears that threatened to overwhelm her. "Leah!" Artemis's voice crackled through the comms, his tone tense and urgent. "We can't hold them off much longer. You need to do it now." She nodded, her eyes snapping open as she began to type, her fingers dancing across the keys with the precision of a virtuoso. The code unfolded before her like a living tapestry, its logic and beauty revealing itself as she delved deeper into the inner workings of the nanocloud. As she worked, she could feel the presence of Vesper Scarlatti at her side, the AI's guidance a gentle touch that guided her through the labyrinth of code. Together, they wove a new pattern, a new purpose that would transform the nanocloud from a force of destruction into a force of preservation. "Almost there," she whispered, her voice barely audible as she entered the final sequence of commands. The console shimmered beneath her fingers, the air crackling with energy as the nanocloud responded to her touch. "Leah, hurry!" Amara's voice was a desperate plea, the sound of her struggle a painful reminder of the stakes of Liana's task. She could hear the roar of the mutated creatures, the hiss of ancient technology as it came to life once more. She clenched her teeth, her focus unwavering as she typed the final command, her heart pounding in her chest as she waited for the results. The console flickered, the glowing keys dimming for a brief moment before a surge of energy coursed through the room. The nanocloud's base code had been altered, the ecological crisis had been averted. As the realization washed over her, Liana felt a wave of relief and exhaustion unlike anything she had ever experienced. She sank to her knees, her head bowed as tears of gratitude and joy streamed down her face. "We did it," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "We saved Arium." Around her, the resurrection facility began to power down, its ancient systems shutting off one by one as the nanocloud resumed its intended purpose. The air grew still, the chaos and destruction of the battle fading away as a new era of prosperity and harmony dawned. Liana stood, her body weary but her spirit soaring. She looked around the control nexus, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude as she took in the sight of her team, their faces etched with relief and triumph. Together, they had faced the darkness that threatened their world, and together, they had emerged victorious. And as the nanocloud began to heal the Earth's surface in a controlled manner, nurturing the long-extinct life forms back into existence, Liana knew that they had not only saved Arium, but had also given the planet a second chance at life. With a final glance at the console, she turned to face her team, her eyes shining with determination and hope. "Come on," she said, her voice steady and strong. "We have a lot of work to do." And as they made their way back to Arium, the city's biodomes shimmering like jewels amidst the clouds, Liana knew that they would continue to fight for their home and for the generations yet unborn. For the sake of Arium, and for the sake of the Earth, they would stand tall, their spirits unbroken and their resolve unyielding. And as the nanocloud wove its magic, restoring the delicate balance of life that had been lost for so long, Liana couldn't help but feel that their world had become just a little bit brighter, a little bit more hopeful. For in the end, it was not the power of technology or the might of ancient civilizations that had saved them. but the unbreakable bond of friendship and the indomitable spirit of humanity. And as they walked towards the dawn of a new era, Liana knew that they would continue to face whatever challenges lay ahead, their hearts united and their spirits unbowed. For they were the saviors of Arium, the guardians of the earth, and together they would usher in a new age of peace and prosperity, their names forever etched in the annals of history.